Hello everyone, welcome to my online classroom. Today we are going to start Geography class 10th, first chapter Resources and Development. But before of that, we are going to discuss what is the meaning of geography and what kind of things we are going to read or understand in the geography. So let's start the meaning of geography. Actually, the word geography can be divided. We can divide this word into two parts, geo and graphy. So geo word comes from the Greek word ge, which means earth, and the graphy word comes from graphene, which means to discover. So in a simple way, we can say it is the study of earth and its people. And we can also say like this, science that studies the terrestrial surface, the societies that inhabit it, and the territories, landscapes, places or regions that form it when interacting with each other. Even the person who is an expert in geography that person is known as a geographer. Now again, the geography is divided into two main parts called physical geography and human geography. Under the physical geography, we study the natural environment, and in the human geography, we study the human environment. And remember, in geography, of course, maps is a very important tool in geography. Today, when we are going to start the resources and development, of course, in this chapter also, political map of India is be required, in which we are going to do the different types of soils. Already, I have make one video related to this chapter or flow chart of this chapter where I have mentioned all the headings. If you have not watched that video, please go and just watch that video where you can see all the important headings of this chapter as well as the map work. So now today I am going to start the explanation of this chapter. As you can see, the heading of this chapter contains two important words, resources and development. First of all, it is very important to understand the heading of this chapter because each and every word contains a meaning, and without understanding the meaning, we are not able to understand anything. So whatever the content we are going to read in this chapter, through this heading we try to understand right now before to read each and every line. First of all, what is given resources? So we are going to understand what is the correct meaning or definition of resources. In different places you are going to get this meaning different in a different way. Same for the development also, the meaning of development is also be different in different places, and in different books we are going to take this meaning of this word in a different sense. So here we are going to understand first of all the meaning of resources. The definition of a resource is something that is ready to use it or when it is needed. Next, a source of aid or support that may be drawn upon when needed. We can understand this meaning in other ways also, like things which are useful for us or help us to earn our livelihood. Even we can understand like this, resources comes from an old French word meaning release or recovery, which certainly ties in with the idea of a resource being something that offers necessary aid. However, the word resource also refers to the natural resources available in and on our earth things that we are constantly drawing on and depleting, such as our trees, ores, and atmosphere. Once such a natural resource is used up, it's usually gone forever and it is no longer a resource. Now, even in simple words, we can say the things, the resource means the things which are useful for us or help us to earn our livelihood. In book also, in the first para, we are going to get the meaning of the resources. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided is technological accessible, economical feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be called a resource. Sorry. So this we are going to understand when we are going to read the chapter. So now I'm going to explain by this the meaning of resources by the very easy example. An easy example we are going to take. Suppose a person have two pieces of land. Again I will repeat. Suppose a person have two pieces of land. One piece of land we are going to take the name A, and the second one we are going to take the name B. So on the A land that A land is a barren land. It means wasteland. It is not fertile land. So now, due to less of fertility on this land, we are not able to do agriculture. Agriculture is not possible on the A land, and when agriculture is not there, so of course no production, and when no production is there, so of course no selling, and when no sale is there, so last what we are not going to get any profit. So in this way, a person who is having two pieces of land from A land, because that land is a barren land, that's why he is not able to get any income. Now we are going to take the another example, the B land which that person have. So from the B land, that land have a good fertility of soil. Because of the fertility, agriculture is possible there, and after the agriculture there, of course production is possible, and when production is the possible, then we can sell that production in the market, and after selling that production in the market, we able to get profit. That person is able to get profit. So in this way, we are going to find out this thing, that for that person, from both of the land, A land and the B land, which land is known as a resource for that person. So here, because the from A land he is not getting any profit, so of course from the B land, when he is going to get the profit, so in this way the B land is become a resource for that person. In the same order, but as a human, because human is also a capital, so it depends on the human that he is not going to leave all this kind of resources like this, because on the earth already we have very less or limited natural resources. So we have to try our best to use each and every natural resources, and we have to try them. We have to use our technology, we have to use our labor, and try it to make it as a source of income. So here, the A land, what do you think? If the person have technology or the person have some skill, so of course he will try it to make a fertile land or try it to make a resource. So as we already know, B land is become a resource for that person. So what's about of now A piece of land? So A piece of land by using his own skills, the knowledge, technology, the human is going to try it to make it a fertile land or to try it to make a resource. So now that person, what he is going to do, he will add some chemical fertilizers and try it to make fertile. Suppose in a case, if it's going to become a fertile, so of course agriculture is possible. Now this land also become a resource for that person. But in a case, suppose if no agriculture, that land is not going to be converted into a fertile land. So that land, of course, we are not able to do farming in that, but we can do other things also. Suppose on that piece of land, that person is going to construct any building, any school, or any kind of house. So in this way, new income source is going to be ready for him, and income is going to become. So of course, that piece of land is also going to be help him to earn his livelihood. So in this way, that land also become a resource for him. So this is the correct meaning of resources. So all the things, we are not going to take the term resources, the things which is going to satisfy our needs, or by that we are able to earn our income to live our livelihood. That thing is known as a resource. Now we are going to read this chapter now, each and every line, what the important lines have been given here. First of all, it is the activity work is be given. Can you identify and name the various items used in making life comfortable in our villages and towns? List the items and name the material used in their making. Now we are going to read each and every line, what the important things we have to remember. Everything available in our environment. First of all, whatever things, everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resource. So remember everyone, first of all, in environment, whatever things we have, everything which is available in our environment, we very well know God has gifted us a lot of different things, and they all are really beneficial for us. Our whole life is depend on all those natural things. So here, and the things which can be all used to satisfy our needs, and provided it is technological, and that thing should be technological accessible. What it means, technological accessible? It means possible to be reached or easy to get. Like if water is there, river is the present, so of course river is also a resource because we can take easily water from the river. So it should be technological accessible, possible to reach, or easy to get. Second word, it is mentioned here, economically feasible. Economically feasible. Economics in the book economics, I think in class 9 8 old, in economics book, whenever economics word is coming, the capital word is becoming. So of course in economics book we read about the capital, the money. So here economical feasible means possible to do or affordable. Of course any natural resource, if you are going to buy, if you are going to sell that thing, so of course it should be affordable. It should not be at a very high rate so that we are not able to afford them. So first we have the things which is be available in our environment, and those things which we use to satisfy our needs, those things should be technologically accessible. First word, technological accessible, it means easy to get. Second word, we have economically feasible, which means possible to do or affordable. It should be affordable. Everyone, according to their pocket, they can be afford those things. And culturally acceptable, or the things which is be culturally acceptable. Acceptable means all the human beings or the community, they are going to accept that according to, by checking their that thing is not be harmful for our environment. Like the things that are allowed to be observed or practiced without objections and hindrance, such as traditions, religions, languages, and values. So it means all the community members, they are going to accept them without any problem. So that thing is going to come as a resource. So according to the book, according to the NCERT, of course in paper whenever it's going to be come for 1 mark question, what is the meaning of resource? So of course you can write in your own language. You are going to give the example same just I given the example of the land, that one person have 2 pieces of land. So in this way you can make your own example and your own heading. The point is that the meaning they want, it should be clear, and you can write this meaning also, which I explained it each and every word. First of all the things which is be available in our environment, first point is. Second things, all these things we are going to use to satisfy our needs. And third, which is be technological accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. All those things, if they have this kind of characteristics, so those things are known as a resource. Now, just one example I also want to give you here. Example of Japan and South Africa. Here also, as you all know, Japan is a developed country, and if you are going to but the thing is that there no natural resources they have. But without natural resources, how this country become a developed country? Because of their high technology and human resource. Because their human resource are very skilled. Because of their skill, because of their technology, what they are doing, they are going to buy the natural resources from the other countries at a very low rate, and in their own country, with the help of the machines, with the help of technology, with the help of skilled human resource, they converted that raw material into a finished product and then sell to the other countries at a very high rate. So in this way, in their country, income is going to become, because we very well know God has gifted us all the things in a not in a proper ratio. In somewhere we have a lot of resources, and in somewhere we don't have resources. But it is the human being who is going to take or combine all these things together to earn profit and to earn their livelihood. And now take the case of South Africa. Of course, South Africa, we can, in many of the books it is given, it is also known as a dark continent. And here, because many of the people, they don't know where it is situated, and lack of technology is there, so that's why it is known as the dark continent. Even it is very many of the people, they don't know where it is situated, and it is very difficult to go there. So that's why it is mentioned as a dark continent. And here in this country, there a lot of natural resources are available, but due to low technology and less human resource and unskilled, they don't have the knowledge, and maybe they don't have the technology, and because not knowing how to use any technology, this is the main reason why they are not able to use these natural resources on a large way. So this is their drawback, and because of that, it is not going to be counted as a developed country. So of course, resources played a very important role in each and every country's development. So that's why in the heading we can see both the words are given here, and in this way resources and development were connected to each other. If any country have resources, so of course their development, their progress is possible. But suppose if any country they don't have resources, so how they are going to become developed? So of course, by the skilled human resource, they are going to become developed, or they are able to get development in their country. So that's why in this first chapter name is resources and development. Now let's see this triangle, figure 1.1 is given, which is going to represent as interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institutions. So here you can see inside of the triangle human beings is written, and here one arrow which representing physical environment. Physical environment means nature and technology, and third we have institutions. So of course human being is the major one. Human being is the person who is going to use nature, technology and institutions, and by that he is going to make resource. All the natural things he is going to convert into a resource. So of course it shows the interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institutions, how these all things are interdependent on each other. After that, see here we are going to read the different types of resources. I hope now you all have understood the meaning of resources. So now in this page we are going to, it is the first page of this first chapter. So here one table is also be given where we have figure 1.2, and of course through the figure through the flowchart we can easily understand each and every point, and it is easy to remember also. So here first we have resources, and let's see the resources how they have been classified. So they are what kind of types are be given. So resources is divided into first of all two parts. We have natural and we have human. Because nature by nature or man-made. We have two types of resources, which is known as natural or man-made resources. So under the natural, let's study first of all natural. Under the natural, we have two types, first of all renewable and non-renewable. Under the renewable, it is a continuous or flow. The things which is not going to be means we can use those things again and again. So let's like wind or water. By using them, they are not going to finish. Even these renewable resources are of two types, continuous or flow, or second we have biological. And biological is also divided into two parts, natural. Under natural we have vegetation, it means forest, all flora is coming under this. And next we have this wildlife. So wildlife is also be a part of this biological, the renewable. Now next we have non-renewable. The things after use them, they are going to be finished. So it is also two types. We have recyclable, examples metals. We can recycle them. And second, we have non-recyclable like fossil fuels. After using them, they are not going to be long last. Of course, they are going to be finished. And it took a long time to make this fossil fuels. Next, we have the human, the man-made resources. So here, first we have structures and institutions. And second, we have quantity and quality. So here, structures and institutions, whatever the human they have created, they have constructed any kind of structures or institutions, so they all are coming here. And like quantity and quality, of course, all the things like natural resources, something are there. It depends on the quantity and quality wise. So with the help of the technology, the human is going to use them. So now we are going to take the next para. The process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institutions. So here this diagram has been explained through these lines. The process of transformation, whenever you are going to transform anything and you are going to make that thing, you are going to take that thing from the environment and then you are going to convert into a finished product and going to make a resource. So that for all that thing, it depends some points. So where it's going to be dependent? It's going to be dependent on the relationship between nature, technology and institutions. Human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. So of course, the main person who is going to use nature, who is going to use technology and institution and going to make the interdependent relationship between all these three things. So that person is the human. So actually human beings interact with the nature, and how he is going to interact with the nature? Through the technology, with the help of the technology. And after with the use of the technology, that natural resources is going to be extracted, and after that going to create any institutions or laboratory where they are going to work on those natural resources and to convert into a finished product for use of their economic development. After that we have the next para. Do you think that resources are free gifts of nature as is assumed by many? Just I already told you that of course God has gifted us all the natural resources. All the natural resources are the free gifts of the nature. So many of the people, they have this kind of thinking, these all natural resources are free gifts. They are getting free gifts from the nature. Let's see, is it like this or not? So they are not. Actually, they are not free. Resources are a function of human activities. Actually, resources are a function of human activities. Let's see, suppose, of course, any person, land is here, rivers are here, and all natural resources we have. But until the human beings is not going to work there, they are not going to give their labor, how these things are going to benefit us? The person, the farmer, on the land, after doing a hard work, after that the soil, the land is giving us production. So after working, not at any free of cost, they are giving to us anything. So of course, human beings themselves are essential components of resources. So here it is explained how human beings played an important role to make anything as a resource. Even for the rivers also, we very well know from the river water we can get electricity, hydroelectricity we can make. But it is the human who is going to be take his labor and the technology. By that, he is going to use that resource. They transform material available in our environment into resources and use them. So this is a human being who is going to transform material which is available in our environment in a different way. Like forest we have, like rivers we have, wood we have. So animals we have, a lot of different things we have, minerals we have. So how we are going to use them, it totally depends on the human being, because finally he is the person who is going to transform this material into a resource form. After now we have the category division of resources. Now let's see how the resources we can be classified in the following ways. So here it is been mentioned. First of all, remember, of course, question it is going to be come. So it is very important topic. First of all, resources we can be classified into 4 types. Total 4 types we have. And in 4 types also we have division, we have classification, we have some parts. So first we have the 8 on the basis of origin. It is our first how we are going to classify the resources. So on the basis of origin, we have 2 types, biotic and abiotic. Again, on the basis of origin, we have biotic and abiotic. Second, on the basis of exhaustibility, we have again 2 types, renewable and non-renewable. Come to the third, on the basis of ownership, of course, here we have 4 types, individual, community, national and international. Last, we have on the basis of status of development, we have here potential, developed stock and reserves. So in the short way, it is be given here, and then in the next page we are going to read in detail about each of the terms, like on the basis of origin, what do you mean by biotic and abiotic. Okay, let's see, you can see these points have also been related to the science, especially from the bio. So of course, social sciences of subjects with scientists are the subjects also here. So let's see what we are going to read under the biotic, abiotic. So now let's move to the page number 2, and here it is be mentioned. One activity is be given here, identify at least 2 resources from each category. So from the whatever categories we have read right now, so on the basis of that, it is the activity is given. Now next types of resources we are going to read or understand what it means. On the basis of origin, of course, we have 2 types, biotic resources and abiotic resources. So biotic resources, in a simple way, we can say that living things, all the living things are known as resources, biotic resources, and abiotic means non-living things. So here also lines are mentioned. So before of reading, our study, our revision should be like this. Like before of reading any line, we will very well know what we are going to read in that para or in that line. So understand the headings every time, because if you are going to understand the heading, it is very easy for you to learn, and it is very easy to remember and to write in exam. Okay, what actually all the 3, 4, 5 lines you have to mention in the book, in the answer sheet. So here now biotic resources, it means living things. So these are obtained from biosphere and have life such as human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. So this is the definition of the biotic resources which you can make by your own. Next we have abiotic resources. So all those things which are composed of non-living things are called abiotic resources. For example, rocks and metals. So this is clear. Now come to the next, we have the on the basis of exhaustibility. Again we have 2 types, renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable again and again, and non-renewable not like that. So the resources which can be renewed, because name is here renewable, new word is becoming here, as you, if you can see. So it renewable word contains new, N-E-W, new word is be hidden here. So the resources which can be renewed, what is here, renewed. So it's going to be make again and again, renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical or mechanical processes are known as renewable or replenishable resources. Remember, or word is be given, so it means renewable word is very famous, and we are going to easily understand what it means. But remember replenishable, because what is given in the NCERT book. So of course in paper, in exam time, they can be asked what do you mean by replenishable resources. So that time you have to be remember, you know the meaning of renewable and the definition of renewable, but when this question is coming by this one, so you don't remember, and that's why you don't know the meaning. But you know the meaning, but you are not able to write it there. So that's why I am saying again and again, of course the question paper, in the question paper you will get the question in a indirect way. So remember each and every word and underline all these important words. Next we have, for example, solar and wind energy, water, forest and wildlife, etc. Because these things renew again and again, reproduce again and again. That's why these all things are coming under the renewable resources. The renewable resource may further be divided into continuous or flow. After that, we have the non-renewable resources. These occur over a very long geological time. Minerals and fossil fuels are example of such resources. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources like metals are recyclable, and some like fossil fuels cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. So in this way we can understand just opposite of this. Whenever two are given, so of course it is the just opposite of the first one. Non-renewable, we cannot renew them, we cannot we can say we cannot reproduce them. So here it took a lot of millions of years for their formation, and these resources like metals, it is also divided into two parts, recyclable and non-recyclable. Just like the example is given, metal, we can recycle it, but for the fossil fuels we cannot recycle them. It gets exhausted after the use of this. After now, next week on the basis, third week type of resources we have, that is on the basis of ownership. Now, of course, on the basis of ownership, it means someone is the owner of that thing and someone is the head of that thing. If you want to use those things, so of course, first of all, you have to take their permission, or maybe some where we don't require permission. So first we have individual resources. They, on the basis of ownership, we have total 4 types: individual, community, we have the national, and we have the international resources. So first of all, individual resources. Now try it to understand the heading of this para. Heading is individual resource. What do you mean by individual resources? Now take the example of your books. I think you have your own personal books. Or suppose if you have mobile, so that is your individual mobile, that is your personal mobile. If you have your water bottle, so that is your individual thing. You don't want to share, sometimes you don't want to share with the other person. So in this way, the things which you have, which they satisfy your needs, so that is your personal things, your individual things which you don't want to share with other one, and nobody can ask or nobody can take without your permission. So those things are known as the individual resources. It is just example. Now let's see the headings, lines. So these are also owned privately by individuals. So these things, those things which is coming under the individual resources, those things owned by the private property, and it means individuals. Many farmers own land which is allotted to them by government against the payment of revenue. In villages, there are people with land ownership, but there are many who are landless. Urban people own plots, houses and other property. Plantation, pasture lands, ponds, water, in wells, etc. are some of the examples of resources ownership by individuals. Make a list of resources owned by your household. So here also it is mentioned to make a list of resources owned by your household. So here, of course, the things which is related to only one person, and the one person is the owner of that thing. Suppose if you have your any piece of land, so that is your piece of land. Anyone cannot take that piece of land for agriculture or for constructing any building. So that is your own personal property, and that thing is going to satisfy your need. So that is why it is known as the individual resources. Next we have the community owned resources. The word is given here, community owned resources. So just opposite of the individual, it is here. Individual means only related to one, and community means related to everyone in the community. All the members of any community or in the society, if all the people live there, so all for on any resource, on anything, all these people have the right to utilize them, to use them. So it means that resource is going to satisfy the needs of everyone in the, everyone means the members of that community. So example is be given here. They are resources which are accessible to all the members of the community. Village commons, like grazing grounds where all the animals of belong to all the people, they can feed there and they can graze there, and burial grounds, village ponds, etc. So we can take the example like public property. So this is the public property in which all the people have the right to utilize them, like public parks. So in public park, it is not a personal property of any one person. So it is the public, because name is given public park. So it means utilized by everyone. And same for the roads. On the roads, you don't have your own personal road. कि आप जब चलोगे तो no one will be go or walk on that road. It's not like that. So public parks are like this, and the picnic spots we have. After that, next. So this we have discussed now community owned resources. Next we have the national resources. So playgrounds in urban areas are de facto accessible to all the people living there. So whatever things which is going to be utilized by everyone, those things are going to become under the community owned resources. Public parks, railway stations, all this kind of things. Now next we have the third type, which is coming under this on the basis of ownership, the classification of resources. So here we have the third type. It is national resources. Name, understand the heading by the word national resources. So resource means, so we very well know the things which satisfy the human needs, and national means related to one country. So I hope now you understand what we are going to read under this para. Let's see. Technically, all the resources belong to the nation. See, in the second line word is given nation. The country, so it means that things, the resources which belongs to any nation, that is for that nation, those things are known as the national resources. The country has legal powers to acquire even private property for public good. You might have seen roads, canals, railways being constructed on fields owned by some individuals. Urban development authorities get empowered by the government to acquire land. All the minerals, water resources, forests, wildlife, land within the political boundaries and oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles. It means 19.2 kilometers from the coast, termed as territorial water and resources therein belong to the nation. So now we are going to see what things we are going to say national sources. Of course, those resources which belongs to any nation, those resources we are going to take the term or give the term national resources. Here, maybe if the property is belong to any private, any individual one, and we are going to use it for public good. So in this way also, like suppose that take the examples of road. At the time of road construction, sometimes we have to take the land of some individual person or the private person. So private owned property we want for construction of roads, railway. So that time what we are going to do, the government is going to, one authority is be here, Urban Development Authority. So this authority is going to purchase, going to buy that land from the individual, the private person, the owner of that private property, and by that property is going to become a government property in which they are going to construct roads, canals and railways. Even like this, some minerals, all the minerals of the country, water resources, forests, wildlife, land within the political boundaries of that country. All those things are coming under the national resources. Even like oceanic area, the area it is the, and which area we are talking here, ocean area, which oceanic area we are talking here, the area which is 12 nautical miles. So we are going to measure the oceanic area, which is 19.2 kilometers from the coast, termed as territorial water, that is also belong to that particular nation. So in this way, all these resources which is we belong to one nation, those resources are known as national resources. Now come to the international resources, as what is given international resources. So international, it means those resources which is not related or belong to only one particular country but belongs to many of the countries. So those resources are known as the international resources. So just you can see, this national we can match with the individual resources, and international we can match with the community owned resources. So international resources, here many of the countries share the natural resources, and it is also according to the area wise. So there are international institutions which regulate some resources. The oceanic resources beyond 200 kilometers of the exclusive economic zone belong to open ocean, and no individual country can utilize these without the concurrence of international institutions. So those resources, where all the different countries, they have the right to use them, and it is also boundaries be given. Oceanic resources which beyond 200 kilometers of the exclusive economic zone belong to their country. Like take the example of ocean. So of course oceans are not the personal property of any country. They don't belong, because ocean touches the boundaries of the different countries. So how we can say that ocean is the property of only one individual country, and the resources which we found in the ocean, that belongs to only one country? It is not be correct. So of course when ocean touches the boundaries of different countries, so of course different countries have the right to utilize the resources which found in the under the ocean. So, but for this also they have to be take the permission, and they are going to make agreement. So here it is mentioned they have to, without the concurrence of the international institution, they cannot utilize these natural resources. So in this way, in this video we have completed the meaning of resources, the meaning of development, and what the classification of resources, and under the classification we have read the various kinds, various types of resources and their parts also. Now on the basis of status of development is left, which we are going to do in our next video. So thank you everyone.